Okay, so the next policy that I wanted us to look at that I brought forward was policy 2310, public participation at board meetings. And Kim, if you could just scroll to where all my highlighted things were. Okay, so the reason that I brought this forward for us to talk about was because we are having, I guess we're having a little difficulty in getting community members into call to the audience. Um, Two topics seem to be taking up all of our time. The suspension talk, although important, it takes up 50 to 60% of the spots. And lately, our TAs, and their input is equally as important. But they're taking up about 35% of our time. And so there are a lot of people, and we've heard it at Call to the Audience too, and through emails, that they just can't get a spot to talk. So I wanted to do a lottery. The school system has a random number generator. Mr. Smith, our chief communications officer, said that that is something that he could do. We could leave the signups open, for several days. Maybe as soon as people can sign up as soon as it's posted. And then we do a random number generator and we notify those people in a timely fashion that they have been selected to talk. So I wanted to bring that point up, and still leaving those 5 spots at the meeting for folks that may not have access to a computer, or may not be near their computer in order to be notified with that. So that was number 1. And that falls under that last yellow highlight where it says at any time the board may establish additional procedures to ensure that public comment sessions proceed in an efficient and orderly manner. The second thing was that I highlighted in blue, where it says an unusually large number of people request to speak, the majority of the board may decide to request a designation of a spokesperson for each group of persons supporting or opposing the same positions. And so that goes back to the folks that take up 15 spots out of our 30. So I wanted us to make a recommendation to the board if we thought that was important, so that we could develop a plan on how to notify, how to get people to combined up. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I'm going to jump in if you don't mind. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. It does make sense because we do hear, and it is the same people, I guess they set their alarms and get up and stuff. So, I have mentioned that before. It'd be nice to be able to hear, because there are other people that have other topics they'd like to bring up. So, yeah, that does make sense to me that we need to come up with some kind of plan. As far as the spokesperson thing, I don't know how you'd enforce that unless you have some ideas on how to enforce that, because we do have about, as you say, probably 15 people that speak on exactly the same topic every time, and it is a very important topic. I think the majority of the board understand and agree with it. But again, I don't know how exactly we would enforce, because it is already in our policy that they should have a spokesperson and one person should speak. And like we've seen with some of our TAs, where one person speaks and there, maybe 8 or 9 people that stand behind them in support of them. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on how we would enforce that?
I don't really. I'm not sure how we would even begin a discussion about that in the policy committee, since the majority of the board would have to decide to do that. I think that would be something we'd have to discuss amongst ourselves if we wanted to do that, or how that would look. But I don't really think we need to make any changes. I just think we need to use the random number generator and inform the public that that's what we're doing. It looks to me like the language in this policy would provide us the opportunity to do that.
So that's why that's what my read was too. But I wanted your both of yours opinion, and then Mr. Shive to weigh in on that.
I agree that the policy gives you authority to use a lottery system for sign up as it's currently written.
Okay, so we really don't have to bring that to the board. That would be that we're going to do that, other than get there? I mean, is this one thing that I should put on the agenda and that we have to vote on? We're going to do that? Or is that something that,
No, I don't think so. I think you just
Yeah.
have to, I would say something at the interim meeting, just as an announcement that, we're gonna have our sign up and, you know, you
What
might
do you
want to
think
make
about?
it.
What do you think about possibly, just moving the number just a little bit? We have 5 slots at the Board of Education, so the vast majority are people that sign up online. And I know most people have access to online, but what do you think? Is we also have a lot of folks that have signed up online and that they don't come. So what do you think about maybe upping the number of in-person sign up to maybe 10? Not a whole bunch, but doubling that number so that we actually do have, more people that are definitely there and have taken the time and the effort to be there instead of, like I don't remember offhand, Ms. Kraybill, how many names you called
9.
last time. It
9.
was nine that didn't show up. So what do you think about moving that to, 10 at the Board of Education signups? That gives people a little bit more opportunity to do that, and they're definitely there. Excuse me.
And
What are your thoughts on
that's
that?
not in our policy, so we can just do that.
Right, but
We don't have
I'm
to be
saying,
tied to those, and we don't have to go the whole hour either. It just says up to an hour. So, if people don't show up, then we just get done early.
okay,
And that's just kind of being rude to your fellow community members.
true.
All right. Well,
Well,
so I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I would like to see if we could, really think about adding, 5 more slots to the in-person, because I think we all do want to hear from our constituents and parents and educators. And since we have that time allotted, why don't we see if we can get more folks to actually show up and do it?
Okay.